When it comes to the character Camper, we wanted a complex character, but we also didn't want to make a character that was so intimidating that a beginner couldn't use it. That being said, Camper does have a lot of layers, but I don't want you to get worried about that just yet. We're going to go through this step by step, and I'm going to show you how we're going to start getting ready to rig the character. So right now you can look at the character here, and I'm going to expand my timeline just by clicking on the little arrow here. And you can see how many different layers are involved with the character. And each of these little dashes here, they basically represent drawing substitutions. So if I scrub my playhead, you can see different things that are happening. Her hand actually swaps out for a glass. We see different mouth movements for the phonemes for when she's going to talk. She also has blinking eyes, and she also has an eyeball here. We haven't placed the eyes in there yet, but this is just all of the basic setup before we start rigging. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through each of the layers and set up a pivot point. Now, for the most part, the layers are already stacked in order, and we can see that everything looks to be in the right place, but we need to set up a pivot point on each layer so we'll know where each part is going to rotate from. Now, a pivot point, think of it like a thumbtack that's sitting in a piece of paper. Now, wherever that thumbtack is placed, the piece of paper is going to rotate based on that. And that's what a pivot point is. So we'll start with the hand left, and I'm going to go up to the top of my screen to my advanced animation tools, and I want to select rotate. Now, if you do not see the advanced animation tools, you go to Windows, come down to Toolbars, and select Advanced Animation. All right, so I'm going to zoom in here, and some of these I've already set, but this is the pivot point for Camper's hand. And I'm just going to use my quick keys to go up and down the layers. Like if I press the J key, it's going down the layers, and if I press the H key, it goes back up the layers. So just adjusting a few of the pivots here. So this is for the lower arm. I'm going to zoom out here. This is for the foot. So I'm just checking to see where things are and making sure all of the pivots are in place. And I do want to adjust my layers as I'm going also. So just placing them in order. So the arm left up, arm left low, and then the hand left. And then the upper left leg. Lower left leg, and then the left foot. And there's the head. And again, I'm just checking through to make sure each thing has its correct pivot point. The eyebrows, I'm going to place those right between the eyebrows. The eyes, again, I'll place this about right between the eyes. And this is Camper's hair, so it's divided up a little bit here. So it's this first little strand here, and just to make sure I'm going to place the pivot in the right place, I'm going to solo this layer. And so I'll come up and place the pivot point right at the top corner. Okay. And another part of her hair. And the front of her hair. I'm going to place that right about center. And if you notice, I keep on turning on the solo layers here. And this is to make sure that I can see everything that I'm supposed to be looking at. So this is for the mouth. The back of the hair. So I'm going to turn on my solo mode again. And the right foot. The torso, I'm going to place this right about at the hip. And the right upper leg. The right lower leg. And now we'll take a look at the robot arm. And another way you can look at the whole rigging is if you think about the skeletons that are around Halloween times, the paper skeletons that are separated by little paper grommets. Let's go to the robot hand and we'll adjust the pivot here. All right, and I'm going to turn off the solo on each of those layers. And so now we've gone through and we've got our layers in order. As well as we've gone through and set a pivot point for each one. Now, I do need to take one look at the eyeball here. And I'm going to leave that right where it is for now. That's part of the eyes. And that's going to stay until we start rigging the eyes a little more, because that's going to involve some filters. So now that we have all of our pivot points set, we'll start working on rigging the character.